Princess Zarda is the last of the Utopians and the power princess for the Squadron Supreme. What role does she play in this remade Marvel universe minus the Avengers? Well, let's hop into the pages of Heroes Reborn issue number 6, the penultimate issue, and find out together, shall we? So then, this issue actually plays around a lot with time. We actually get to see Power Princess's big fight against the All-Gog from the very first issue of Heroes Reborn. How does she manage to defeat such a powerful beast that seemingly destroyed all of Asgard and its many great and powerful godly heroes? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple and pretty sick. You see, Princess Zarda actually allows the All-Gog to swallow one of her bracelets. They're not regular bracelets, though. They're made of Uru and infused with Chaos Chain magic. Which basically means whenever Zarda wants, she can recall it, which she positively does, and the bracelet ends up tearing its way through the All-Gog's stomach, killing him. Also, hey, fun fact, when she stands there all bloody in the face and everything, Jason Aaron says that's a direct reference to the famous image of wrestler Becky Lynch standing all bloodied with a broken nose. You know I had to get a wrestling factoid in here somewhere, right? Now, what exactly does Power Princess do when she's not out there defending DC, by which of course I mean the District of Columbia, not DC Comics, but yes, that has been the joke this whole time in case you didn't know. Well, for starters, she tends to her Garden of Stone, which is made up of incredibly powerful characters from across the Marvel Universe, all rendered statues by her. And, oh yeah, while on the subject of statues, Princess Zarda also just so happens to live in the top of the Statue of Liberty, once known as America's favorite lady, but Power Princess thinks that she's America's favorite lady for obvious reasons. Admittedly, things can get pretty boring when you're the last Utopian. That's because it's heavily implied that she killed all the others, so she figures maybe a little fling will add some spice to her life. In fact, as we discover in this issue, Zarda is actually stooping two of her teammates, Hyperion and Nighthawk, and in the past they've actually fought entire civil wars over stuff much less petty. But perhaps her first lover in man's world turned out to be Namor. Huh, what an interesting idea, turning the Submariner into the Steve Trevor pastiche in this Wonder Woman pastiche story. They had joined forces during World War II, fought Nazis, and boned at the bottom of the ocean surrounded by sharks, which sounds like a pretty fun holiday, honestly. Power Princess ultimately ends up getting the excitement she was so seeking, but not in the way she could ever expect. A mysterious magical lightning storm ends up coming overhead of her hideout, which ultimately ends up turning a bunch of her statues back to life. Power Princess springs into action to get the likes of Hercules back under control, and we get a very fun image, which is an obvious reference to the DC Hercules keeping the Amazons of that world in chains. Now, Zarda's not stupid, and she's been around for a very long time. She remembers hearing the stories about a wayward son of Asgard, Odin's ill-begotten son sent to Earth to learn humility, but who in the end ended up failing and never leaving. Still, though, Power Princess needs to be 100% sure that there's nothing out there that could threaten her reign, and because of that, she decides to take a trip to the ruins of Asgard. It's along the way, too, she picks up one of her signature weapons, a rainbow axe forged from the pieces of the now destroyed Rainbow Bridge. Princess Zarda's luck ends up running out too, as she just so happens to make it to Asgard around the same time the drunken loser Thor that Blade had tried to recruit a few issues back also ends up returning home. The two end up having a little confrontation, and we actually end up learning a lot about Zarda's own state of mind. She refers to herself as the last god of this world, the only god worth worshipping because, well, she killed all the others and proved how great she was. This is also actually a pretty solid explanation as to how Mephisto has managed to rise to be the god of this Avengers-less world because, well, Zarda was going around and killing all his competition. Power Princess admits she's having a hard time killing this stupid, drunken loser who calls himself Thor. It's as if some great power is out there protecting him, and indeed it is. The hammer Mjolnir has been flying around deflecting blows this whole time on Thor's behalf. And once he eventually clues into this fact, Thor picks up the hammer and ends up transforming into his superhero form. It's interesting, though, that his costume is the original Thor costume and not the newer, more Avengers movie-inspired one. One tactical retreat later, and the main story comes to a close as Power Princess has a meeting with the rest of the Squadron Supreme. She says that before left, he mentioned something that stuck in her mind, a single word, and that word was Avenger. Now, like all the other Hero Reborn stories, stories were also treated to a little backup issue. This one, again, focuses on drunk Thor and how he basically sat out all the most important moments in what used to be his own publication history, meaning that Princess Zarda was able to just waltz on in and basically take over everything that was his. In fact, Jason Aaron very cheekily recreates key moments from his famous God Bomb storyline, only this time it's Power Princess who meets future and past versions of herself to defeat Gorr the God Butcher. And as this story finally comes to a close, Thor, who is now officially the God of Thunder, is met by Echo the Phoenix, who wishes to gain Thor's help in taking down the Squadron Supreme and bringing the Avengers' old world back to the way it was. And so that was Heroes Reborn issue number 6, everybody, and overall I thought it was pretty good. Maybe not as fun or as interesting as the Nighthawk and Dr. Spectrum issues that preceded it, but there's definitely a lot to like here. Having Power Princess essentially be the anti-Thor, someone who slayed all the other gods in the universe because she thought she was superior to them, is definitely an interesting take. Even if it does ultimately end up making her feel a lot like Gorr the God Butcher, a fact that Jason Aaron clearly agreed with because he name-checked that character in that story that he himself already wrote. Ultimately, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one a 7.5 out of 10. The stage is fully set now for the Avengers of this crazy cracked timeline to clash with the Squadron Supreme. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.